Hi everyone. My name is Assistant Professor Dr. Patama Satawedin. I'm the Director of the Master of Communication Arts programs, and also I'm a full-time lecturer at the Schools of Communication Arts, Bangkok University. To be honest, it's such a great honor for me to be the keynote speaker at the Eurasia Research Our Life Conference 48 ICTEL 2020 International Conference on Teaching, Education, and Learning in South Korea. So I hope you guys stay safe and healthy during this COVID-19 period. What I would like to talk to you today is entitled Let's Have Fun and Light Up Your Life with the Project-Based Learning. This is such a practice-based research, or I would simply say that it's a research and development research methods. But to be honest, what I would like to give you today is just only to share my experience about the learning and teaching on the project base. I furthermore would like to tell my story presentations as if like when a strategic communication campaign is presented. So the agendas that I would like to cover today is divided into 6 parts together. So the first one, I would introduce you and give you understands about the students' insight. Is then followed by the understanding the market needs. Okay, is actually we have to understand both of them, students and also the labor market. Then we move on to define the business objectives. And then the fourth one, because we know the challenge already, I'm going to propose to you like the strategic solutions. So it's about the strategies and the tactics that we are using. Okay. Then the actual performance. Then last but not least, about the benefits and the challenge that we have found. So I shall start with the recap, the brief recap so far. There are 4 main points that I believe that not just only the local instructors, local educators have found, but also the global educators has also found as well. So the first one is about the delayed graduation. So some students, especially the graduate students, I mean the master's degree students and also the doctoral students, they cannot finish on time. So even though the students can finish their courseworks, but they may be facing and encountering with the difficulties of independent studies, baby thesis, or in some countries they call it the dissertations or the thesis. Okay. The second one, why the students are studying, they are very stressful and sometimes they do not enjoy what they are studying. The third one, the graduate are unprofessional and cannot respond to the market's need. So the next slide, the next 2 slides, I'm going to talk about the student insights and so also what the labor markets want from the graduates. Last but not least, the student do not want to continue their studies. In this sense, there's a master's and also the doctorate degrees. An article written by Monchai Wongkit, grade 1, is published. It's actually in a Workpoint News. It said that nowadays, due to the digital and technological advances, as well as digital disruptions, humans have been replaced by, of course, the AI or the technological device and tools, and that there is a chip in the business when the skilled laborers are of high need. He gives an example that announced in 2017 that IBM requires skill-based hiring. So likewise, it means that the educational supports are not provided by today's business anymore. So later on, this situations affects on the educational institute or the educational business in terms of the numbers of the students who apply for further study. So it means that the strategy should be applied in order to encourage the students to continue their studies in the future. So let's move on to understand the students' insight. There are 3 main points actually, and the second and the third points, I think they are going together. So let's talk about the first one. The students want to graduate as soon as possible within a period of time that is designated. So the students would like to graduate as soon as possible, of course, within a period of time that is specified and also designated. These can be reasoned by the financial factors, okay, the time constraint because the students, majority of the students, they have to work while studying, and the visa extension, especially for the international students. And then most is about the self-esteem, self-embarrassments, or the social pressures. I've got one of my students asking if she can graduate. This is because she may be the only one person in her family and community who received master's degree. And her father has already announced that the daughter has already gained the master's degree. So the questions about like, have you graduated yet? Can I finish it? Or I'm really afraid of doing independent studies and thesis are with us untold. The second point and the third point that I've mentioned earlier actually go along together. So the students would like to get not only the pure knowledge, academic knowledge, or the academic experience, but they need something that they can use in their life and work straight away. Don't forget that the majority of the students that I mentioned above are studying while working. So in a sense, they want to know how to learn, not what to learn. Right? Shall we move on to the market's needs? What's the labor market's needs from the graduates, from the students? There are two main points that I would like to mention in this case. The first one, the employer needs skilled and well-trained employees. Diana Pitt from LinkedIn revealed that the skills required from the graduates 2020, just recent year, are creativity, okay, persuasion, which is psychological needs, collaboration, adaptability, and also the emotional intelligence. The second point, what I've talked so far with the employees, the professionals, because I have to kind of seek for the collaboration, not just only the academic that I said is professional collaboration. Okay, the employees they need of course someone to be ready to work mindset, and the employees can only be just trained about organizational or cultural understandings to fit well with the organizational or the cultural context. So from the insights of the students altogether with the labor market's needs, the share and core value is they want to perform best to respond and meet with the labor's market's need for their futures. For the futures, in the sense of the graduates, means that they want to get the job, they want to earn money, they want to be promoted, and they kind of can stay alive and happily in the future. But for the business, for the employers, of course, what they want from the students, from the learners or the graduates, of course, is about the business expansion and development. This is in the size of the employers. So this is therefore there are four main business objectives. The first one is to enhance the students' knowledge, skills, experience, and competency, especially the 21st century skills and competencies that I believe that you guys are familiar with. The second point is to encourage the students to graduate on time. Okay. The third one is to provide the student real life and the working context experiences. And last but not least is to increase the numbers of the people who want to pursue master's degree in particular. And the KPIs to evaluate the success or the failures of this project-based campaign, I would like to say that. Okay, there are 4 points that is go along with the business objectives that I've set. Okay, the first one, there is an increasing numbers of the students who can pass the formal examination at the end of their studies. The second point is there is an increasing number of students who can finish their studies on time. The third one, the students who can work at the national and also the international levels. Last but not least, there is an increasing numbers of the students who would like to pursue or continue their studies in the futures. So the strategy so far, I mean, when we know exactly about the problems, the educational problems and the challenge, what have done and kind of develop in order to figure out, in order to solve such kinds of the problems or the challenge. I use what we call the project-based learning. Okay. Um, the project-based means that kind of let the people, let the students to familiar with or experience with the real working context by providing them like a project. In this sense, what we call is the communication, strategic communication campaign. And how I've used like the practice-based research in order to see how successful the project-based learning campaign is. And the situations happens with the master's degree students who are studying in the social science. And the period of the studies, I've used my experience over the 3 years. So the tactics so far that I've used in order to to make the project-based learning successful and be accepted by the learners and students, there are 6 points once again the tactics that I've used. The first one is, of course, the lectures in order to give the conceptual understandings to the students. It then supported by the coaching, means that a series of the questions have to be asked to the students in order for them or encourage them to think further. Okay, we are not the instructors, we are not the facilitator anymore. In this sense, we are performing the roles of the coach. The third one is professional workshops. It's actually help the students, I mean, along the way of, practicing, performing the project-based learning. Okay, we are using not just only the lecture coaching, but also we also use like the professional workshops in order to give like the additional understandings to the students. The goal-oriented studies. Furthermore, we have to understand and know exactly what's the DNA of the graduates of the programs. The fifth one, the self-oriented learning. Okay, of course, in this sense, in this project-based learning, they need to help themselves by having the instructors or the specialized persons as the coach. So they can ask the questions. We're going to go along with them while they are working on the project. We also have to give like the answer, the questions that I just mentioned that about the roles of the coach. Okay, we have to ask a series of the questions to the student in order for them to, I encourage them to think further. Okay, we cannot provide like the exact answers, but we kind of need to practice the students to think and then rethink and then rethink in order to find out like the potential or the best solutions in that environment. Then we have to rearrange the schedule to fit well with the DNA. It means that we have to shift the educational mindsets of not just only the, the students, but also for the instructors or the coach as well. So the actual performance that I've found so far, according to the business objectives, according to the KPIs that we have defined at the beginning, so there are 4 main points. The first one, at the end of the studies, the students are tested while at formal examinations, what we call, I mean, in Thailand, in Thai context culture, we call the comprehensive exam. So the numbers of the students who can pass the examination is increasingly. I'm going to give you the details about the comprehensive exam a little bit. So actually for the students who are doing the master's degree in Thailand, there are two tracks that the students can choose. The first track, we call the track A or Plan A, which is a thesis, and the track B or Plan B, which is IS or Independent Studies, and specifically, the student would like to continue and would like to choose the Plan B, which is Independent Studies. I mean, the majority of the students. Okay, so it means that at the end of their studies, they have to complete comprehensive exam. So I've used this result to to provide you the actual performance. The second point, that approximately 90% of students can graduate on time. So the numbers of the students who can complete graduation on time are increasingly. The third point, the students are able to work collaboratively, not only at a national, I mean, in Thai context, but also at international levels. While they're studying in a master's degree, they are given like the opportunity to study abroad, just for 10 days. It's just a short period of time, in order for them to to get familiar with not just only the international cultures but also international ways of learning as well. And in that time, they are given the opportunity to visit Korea. And of course, they can be able to carry out the project that the South Korean professor have provided for them, to finish all the projects, so they can kind of they adapt themselves, they adjust themselves while they're studying in Thailand, and they are able to to be familiar and adapt themselves to finish and complete their studies in the international levels, which is in this sense is called South Korea. And last but not least, I think it's very important. So almost double students apply for further studies. So so far, what I found so far about the project-based learning campaign can divide it into the benefits and the challenges. So there are five main benefits that we have so far seen. So apart from such numbers reported, the first one, there is like the good relationship and close relationship between the instructors. I mean, from the academic world and also the professional world, and can be built up. And also between students and students can also be built up as well. And between students and instructors can be built. The second point, the employment opportunity is encouraged because we have invited the professional persons or the people, okay, in order to give their knowledge and also the experience. So it means that, and also they can have like the chance and the opportunities to have look, the students' projects that the students have developed so far, and they kind of give like the coach along the ways of why the students are doing their project, so they can see the potentials students. They can see like how skills and also competency that the students have developed so far. So it means in the sense they are along the way with what the students have done, so they can see who's going to be like the potential employees in the future. So it means that they can pick up the ones that they think that, okay, in terms of the mindset, in terms of the attitudes, in terms of the skills and the competency or in experience. Okay, so it means that it's such a golden opportunity for them to be employed. I mean, for the students to be employed. The third one is about connection. So they can have like the good connections again between students, between the coach and the students, and also between the coach as well. The the fourth one. Um, the student can have like an overall pictures of the real working context, okay, because they are put, I mean, the students are put in the real working context. They got like the time constraint, they got like the financial limitations, they got like, okay, they have to work in a group, so they can have like know the characteristics of the humans. and so forth. Last but not least, they kind of get concept and practical understanding and thinking. In contrast, in terms of the challenge, there are two main challenges that I would like to address here. The first one, so both students and instructors, the coach may not be familiar with this new form and the mindset of teaching and learning. So they need some time to adapt and adjust themselves. Even up to now, they need some time, okay, in order to fully understand about the project-based learning. Okay. The second point, I think, is kind of the natural characteristics of group working. So group working can cause some problem. For example, the different levels of the knowledge and the experience of the and the understandings of the students, of course, the frame of reference and also the experience, even the personalities and so forth. So this is can cause the students to work in a group, and it means that they have to adjust themselves in order to and manage themselves in order to work collaboratively and happily. This is the reference, and I would like to thank you all of you for your attentions. And if you have got any questions, I would happy to give you the answers. So thank you very much.